Hey, what's up guys? This is Brian and you're watching another how-to video on BS Fastening.
I'm headed to the top, I'ma do it. I'm headed to the top, I'ma prove it. I could go all night, I'm sick of being nothing. All right, I'm gonna be something. Fight with
Look at that fatty.
Trust me, I'ma be the one at the top. You can't touch me. I bleed with every word coming. I would rather die than be someone who's nothing. I'm the type of dude who will not remain nameless. I'm the type of dude who is headed for greatness. I'm the type of dude who...
Alright guys, so the first thing you want to do when you drop your lower unit is remove your prop from your prop shaft along with the back piece here. Make sure you get that off. If you don't know how to do that, do not continue. This is more complex than you can handle. So just use a block of wood, take your prop nut off, and take your prop off, set it to the side. The reason for that is when you go to lower this down, if that prop hits, now you're going to have to pay for a prop repair as well. The next thing you're going to do on the Optimax motor, or the Pro XS, is there's a plastic cover in the back of your motor up on top. And what that does is it holds this anode in on the bottom to a bolt that's already in here. You're going to have to loosen that up. I had to use a 1/4 inch ratchet. That way that the socket is thin enough to fit through this hole and loosen that up. Underneath here, there's another bolt. That bolt is this one here. And that bolt sits in there, going up from the bottom. Lower those, or remove those. When you go to remove the front four, remove 3 of them, and your last one, you need to leave just a couple turns on the thread so that your lower unit does not drop. Okay guys, so when you're ready to lower your unit, I have one nut left on. All the others are taken off, so I don't have to fumble around too much. And I'm just going to support it with my leg. Take the nut off, and now you can drop the unit. There is going to be a vacuum tube on here for your speedometer. You need to be careful that you do not pull that too low and break it. Alright guys, one more thing that you need to watch for when you're lowering the lower unit on your Optimax is this is like a vent tube here, and this is what goes to your speedometer. So if your speedo's not working, double check that this got hooked up right, and there's a little like press pin grommet that goes around that and holds it into the lower unit. You need to make sure that this is secured very well. Last but not least guys, when you remove your lower unit, you may want to take pictures of your gear shift piece as well as the water pump outlet. These do go on directional. This one's pretty common sense. The smaller end goes onto the water pump outlet. This one here, pay attention to. You'll see in a picture right here which direction that one goes in. Alright guys, so when your lower unit's out of the boat, one thing that you may be taking this out for is to change your water pump impeller, which is in this housing right here. All you have to do is remove 4 screws, lift this impeller housing up, and inside there's a seal here. Inside is your impeller. All you want to do is lift that out, and on the impeller make sure that you watch for the key that holds the impeller from spinning. Okay guys, so I have grease on the top of the shaft, as well as I greased the O-rings on my water outlet and my shifter linkage. With the shifter linkage, as you go in, on the front of the motor you will actually be able to see right in here where the shifter linkage hangs. You may have to push that a little to get it to line up. I have my boat motor right now in about a 45-degree angle, so that shift lever is actually hanging down a little bit. So it may be a little bit more difficult to get it up in this position. The next thing is, as you're putting it up, always have a nut. So once you get it up there, you can just hand tighten one nut and then you're good to go. Lastly, to get the hose that goes in the front of the gear shift section, I believe it's either for water pressure or it is for the speedometer, a set of forceps works really good to get in there and just push it on and make sure that it's secure. One thing to note when you take your unit down or up, you should always put it in gear. What that allows you to do, and don't switch it once you're out of the boat, or you're going to have to figure out which way it goes. You'll verify it once it's back up, that forward is forward and reverse is reverse. Otherwise you'll go from forward to neutral, and that'll actually be reverse, and forward will be neutral, vice versa. It is possible that that happens when you put it back up. But the reason you want to do that sometimes is so when you're putting your unit up, and if it doesn't want to line up, you could actually spin your output shaft a little bit, and that'll realign the gears going into the bottom of the motor. So as you've seen, I used the forceps to get that hose back on. Now as I put this unit up the rest of the way and align it, you may have to move your shifter shaft a little bit to get everything to align. And then it slides right in. Now take one of your nuts, just to hold the unit in place. Now you can let it go. Everything's lined up. It'll go back and forth, in and out. Now you can get the other 4 lower unit bolts in and secured, and then you can go to your shift shaft or your shift lever, make sure forward and reverse engage and disengage. Okay guys, at this point I only have the front 4 bolts installed. I do not have the back one. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my shift lever and verify that forward and reverse do switch this output shaft. At this point I should be in forward. It is locked. At this point I should be in neutral. My shaft spins freely. Not a problem. And now I should go into reverse. Now what you may find is because the motor's not spinning, wants to spin a little bit, you can wiggle it a little and then make sure it fully engages. Okay guys, so we have our front 4 bolts snugged. Now we're going to insert this one out through the bottom and tighten that one up as well. And then the last step to do is to put your, I believe this is called an anode, which covers up that bottom bolt. And this top one, don't just drop that through. So what we're going to do on my ratchet, what I'll do is I'll take a piece of tape, electric tape, across the top and then put the socket on. And that's going to keep this from falling down, and I'll be able to bring it down through there and then tighten this up. Alright guys, so now it's coming out the bottom. Be able to take this, push up, and we'll get that started without any force. Just make sure on the bottom it does line up flat. And tighten it up. Last thing we're going to do is put that plastic connector that I mentioned to you guys, or that plastic plug, over the hole on the top. One more thing to do. I did it already. I didn't need to, but these do need to go back. These are to keep corrosion off your motor. They go right in here. These were not needed to be removed for the lower unit to come off. I did, however, do that, so we have to put these back. Alright guys, there you go. Everything's back together. Throw your prop on it, go out to the lake and give it a quick test. Everything should be functioning. If you want, throw the muffs on it. Make sure that it goes through the gears, forward and reverse, neutral, and then you can go out to the lake and you'll be good to go. Hey, thanks again for watching another how-to episode on BS Fasten.